I believe Scarlet had X'd in the chat. Scarlet, if you'd like to say your piece.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few thoughts that I had while we're having the conversation. One was, I guess for me, it's like a question right at the beginning where we're discussing about animal rights and kind of human rights, where I think the question is, will we ever get animal liberation on animal rights if we don't end all forms of oppression in terms of, because it's a systemic issue of having these oppressions. So can we get one without the other? And I think, in my opinion, it's no. Even if we get some sort of rights, more like welfarist rights for animals, I think all oppressions are connected, and we will not end all oppressions. We need to look at the thing more in a bigger picture, more that it's a systemic issue in our society to have this hierarchy, to have these oppressions one on top of the other. And I think that a lot of vegans, especially the ones who a lot of people mentioned before, who don't agree on that, or who are not intersectional, they maybe don't agree with that, or maybe they haven't even been educated on that, because it is more of a political issue, or more of political understanding of how the world and politics work, rather than just about the animals. And I think that even though I think that non-intersectional or single issue vegans wouldn't think that all oppressions are connected. Well, they might think, but they don't want to discuss that because, as I said, it might take away the issue from the animal. But also, I think that they end up using that a lot of times on their arguments for veganism, mentioning slavery, for example, which is it's quite ironic how they do that. So that was my question, was like, can we? I think that's something that we need to ask. Can we get animal liberations? Can we get the world to think of them as sentients that should be free from oppression? Will we be able to get that without thinking about all oppressions and ending all that systemic problem that we have? And I think many here, I think that we're not, and that's why we need to get educated on other issues. But I want to point out something that I have this kind of rule where I don't speak about something unless I, like, from a 0 to 10. If I don't know about something more than 7, then I don't speak about that issue. And I feel like, for me, it's easy for me to speak about animals because it's something that I've been reading a lot about it, and I know about how they're being treated. And I've been vegan for so many years. Now, other issues like racism is something that I'm slowly being educated on, and that's not something that I'll be will put all my energy into, not because I'm not against it. I'm not anti-racist. I am, of course, but it's just you only have 24 hours a day, and there's only so much that you can learn about it and fight for. And that's kind of what I wanted to say. And also on this topic about being a leftist movement, yes, I think it is against all forms of oppression. So it is a leftist movement, and I don't see it. I think it's easier to get a left person to go vegan and to understand veganism than to get a right-wing person. For someone who honestly believes that there is a hierarchy and an oppression, and that is absolutely acceptable, the inequality that we have in this world, and actually feed off that inequality, it's very hard for them to understand the end of oppression, of animal oppression, than a left-wing person who already feels that that they already feel that there is injustice in the world, and then we need to fight those injustices. It's much easier for them to understand vegans than for a right-wing person.
There's just several studies that have been done on political attitudes and support for animal rights or vegetarian veganism. And yeah, you're right.
Can I just make a suggestion? There's a fantastic talk by a lady called Janae Bundock from about 15 years ago called The Hidden Cost of Patriarchy. It's free to watch on Vimeo, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
covers some really, really amazing points and talks about who are the types of people we are trying to attract to this movement, and are we potentially getting it wrong. But I would suggest to everyone, if they get an hour to watch it, it's really fantastic.
Yeah, is that a full video now? Because it was
Yeah.
broken into 4 parts, wasn't it? I think.
No, I've actually found it on 2 links. If you type in Janae Bundock, the first 2 video options, one is through Vimeo and one is something plus, but both of them have the full one, which is 45-minute talk, and then it's a 20-minute Q&A. But I've watched it about 5 times. Every time take something else from it. Really fantastic.